And welcome everybody. Hello and welcome.
Hello.
Today we are doing a live training called Cosmic Sex, the Key Codes to Soulgasmic Partnership. So my name is Nancy Ray, and my love, who is saging right now, walking around, is the lovely Miss Keely. And she'll be joining me. We are a twin flame couple living out of Utah, USA. Just thought I'd share that. So really excited to be diving in with all of you today. We are going to be doing some activations during this session and this time here. We are going to be looking at putting in some key codes for really getting you aligned with your divine unified power. So as within, so without. So we're going to be working on getting you totally unified in your power and having that shift things in the dynamics of your relationships. Welcome, Megan. We're going to be talking about different specific keys that you can watch for in your relationships that are going to be indicators of what blueprint you're actually running. If you're running a divine union blueprint, a narcissist, empath blueprint, any sort of abuse, any hijacking going on, we're going to be taking a look at all of that here today. I want to talk to you about actually enjoying sex with your partner. And it's so important, as I was letting you guys know that we were putting this training on, I mentioned how important it is to know the difference between sex with, anybody, maybe someone in your first dating or one night stand type of sexual relationships, and actually intimacy in a committed partnership. There are very different energetics that are activated when we're looking at that. So things that might, if you're really great at getting off, you're just chopping that gum, baby. She's like, I'm just putting the gum in for a minute. I'll take it out. And she comes in here. She's really excited. She's like, so excited. So the energetics are very different. So if you're able to get off, by yourself, masturbating or watching porn or even doing one night stands. Hello, Lacey. Welcome. Those are mechanics that don't actually apply to a union template in a committed relationship. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and it's important for you to understand and recognize the difference. Cool. Do you want to tell them a little bit more about what we're doing?
Yeah, so just so you all know, she's saying that we're doing some activations or the unified.
Right, the unified blueprint.
But she is the activator. She has light codes inside of her. She has this is part of her gift. If any of you guys are familiar with the human design, this is part of her gift. So she actually carries so much of the light codes inside of her, which today you're going to be activated. And that happens with so many, I don't know who've worked with her, but so many times after they've had a session with her, they'll just be all lit up because she's activating them on such a, not just the physical level, but in all four of the different energetic bodies.
So I want to talk to you about what that actually means. Thank you, baby. So what that actually means is we actually have, a grid work, if you will, like circuitry in our body. Okay. And you can see it kind of Lacey's like, yeah, so true. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like if you could see a circuit board, in a computer. And there are different hijacks that can be put in place by other people, by entities, by energies, by systems, by what would you call it? I'd say the dark web of energy, but yeah, basically. And those hijacks will actually reroute your circuitry that when it's aligned has you really connected to your intuition, your confidence, knowing what you're about, able to manifest with ease, and it actually reroutes that circuitry. So I want you to see it almost here's your divine blueprint. And it kind of works like a series of canals of water, if you will, right? You've got the big river, and then it comes down into the canal.
Get ready, people.
Okay, here it comes. You've got the big river, and then that comes down into a larger, smaller, but bigger than a ditch canal. And then that branches out into a ditch, and then that goes out into the pipes that then goes out and irrigates the crops. Right? To really actually water the seeds that you're planting in your subconscious, in your life, the energetic seeds you're creating. This whole life experience, this whole being on the planet, everything that we're doing is here to become better and better creators. Mm-hmm. You guys hearing me? Me saying that is a code that actually gets you activated back onto your divine alignment blueprint. There's a series of specific phrases and key codes and words that actually put you back line up to your divine operating system, if you will.
She's doing it. She's doing
That's
it
what's
right
happening
now.
right now.
Yes.
Okay. So we're here to be creators. So you plant these seeds of like things you're wanting to create and things you're wanting to experience or healing or love or light. And then something hijacks the actual life force energy that waters and nourishes them to grow in your life. So if you're feeling like, this law of attraction thing doesn't work, I'm broken, I'm fucked up. First of all, broken and fucked up, that is a hijack. That is an actual hijack phrase that's been built in. So there's specific things you can watch for. When I'm working with people, I hear a lot of people say, I'm broken, I'm crazy, or I'm fucked up. These are actual, they're called hijacks. They look like a little.
They're like a sentinel.
Right, a sentinel. It's like a little shunt that goes right into your energy system and literally pulls you off of your divine circuitry. So if you're feeling like, oh, manifestation is so slow, or why isn't it coming together, or why do I suck at law of attraction, or why this or that, the truth is so much of your life force. I mean, if you're on this training as a general whole, like when I look at, so when a group of people, okay, there's so much to tell you. Okay, so we each individually have a circuit board, okay? And then the minute that you have a person come into union with you, you create your whole own circuit board, your own circuitry. It's like a new entity, a new energy system. No different than when you walk into a family, you're no longer you. You now morph into whatever circuitry, software, operating systems happening in that family dynamic. This is why you can be so successful, so confident, so clear, and you can go back to your family home and be around your parents or your siblings, and you're like, I'm a fucking 4-year-old right now. It's true. And if you could actually see what's energetically happening, it's not a mystery. It's not weird. You're not broken. That's what's meant to happen. When you go back, hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Yay.
When you go back into a family dynamic, you step back into whatever's operating there. So to actually change a family system from within as a person is really, really, really fucking hard. It's intense. And when you understand the energetics, you can see why. It's like you're coming in when the water's already flowing and you're trying to build a new dam to redirect the energy. The water's already flowing through it fast. You're getting swept up in the current of that system. So right now, everybody who's joining this call, this training here, and even those people who are watching it later, because time isn't linear. So anyone that's going to be partaking of this content, I want you to hear, if you're watching this now, in 3 hours from when this live finishes, or in 4 days from now, it's still going to be relevant what I'm telling you. When I see all of your guys' energy together right here, and this is what happens even when I'm like speaking to an audience, right? When I'm like on a stage, you all morph and you bring together one energy system. Mm-hmm. And it's based on the collective combination averages of the entire group. We are only as strong as, you ever heard, you're only as strong as your weakest link? We rise together. We're all one. We're all connected. So everyone who was attracted here today was for a specific reason, because something about this transmission and the key codes that we're going to be sharing here with you today speaks to you specifically and directly. So we've actually called in a specific fractal, if you will, of people that all come from a similar thread, that the language I'm speaking is your native tongue, the native tongue of your soul. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say that again. It's the native tongue of your soul. So I want to celebrate you for following your intuition, for showing up here, for coming and joining us. And I want you to really prepare yourself to open up and receive what we're wanting to deliver here. So you'll notice I do a lot of the talking, and it's because I have a really big mouth, and no, it's because that's what I do, and that's part of the gift that I have in this dynamic together. So a lot of the work that Keely's doing here in the transmission is just her being here, her presence here, the way she's holding space, the way she feeds me energetically, and all of that. So if you're lucky, you'll get to hear words from her, and if not, you get to just listen to me. But what I want you to see and understand is that everything that is done is a co-creative process. And we're doing that right now. So what I was originally going to say before I told all of you that is 95%. Listen, if you're on this, I'm reading the collective energy of the group of you that are here right now. 95% of you guys, 95% of your energy individually. So you, Lacey, you, Michelle, those of you joining us on YouTube, welcome. 95% of your energy right now, your life force energy, is being rerouted into distorted, fucked up systems.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of different people that are holding those systems. Some of them are your relationships. Some of you have partners and or friends, family members that are vampires in your life, that literally are plugging into your circuit board, rerouting your life force energy for their own purposes. And I want you to know that not a lot of them are conscious of this. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that, like, right when you said that, I feel like, I'm not sure if it was just me, but I feel like I was picking up on the collective or whatever. Basically, there was like kind of a little bit of anxiety when she said that. And if you're feeling that, what I'm hearing and feeling and picking up on is that your systems are being alerted right now. Your systems are being alerted because she's about ready to just bless you, basically, or bring out all of the codes that she's telling you this right now to prepare you. Because right now there's all these systems that are distorted, basically, and she's going to be able to bring out the codes to realign that.
Yes, and that's what you want. That's what I want you all to hear. Our natural state. Hey, Alexandra. Our natural state of being is that divine blueprint, is healing, is well-being. Same thing with the physical body. I want you to start to recognize and understand that everything in your experience is symbolic, right? So like the way that I interact with my woman here is also symbolic of the way I interact within myself. Also the way I interact with the divine. Okay? And your body is this beautiful tool, this symbol that has, when you manifest physical ailments, and we're going to get to this in just a minute with sex, with the actual symbolism and the actual anatomy of sex, the actual organs and why they're shaped the way they are and all of those different things, and the purposes of that, and how that's actually meant to teach us about our relationship with the divine and with each other. So the symbolism within the body that I'm really wanting you guys to like really hear me in this, okay? Your body is only malfunctioning when it has something, it's getting something it doesn't need, or it's not getting something it needs. I want you to hear that again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Your body only malfunctions when it is getting something it doesn't need, right? It's getting some sort of toxin in the environment. It's getting hit, and then there's a break in the bone. It's getting something it doesn't need, okay? Or when it's not getting something it needs. It needs to be realigned. The bone needs to be put in place, right? It needs more vitamin D. It needs more nutrients. It needs more rest. It needs more water. It needs more sun, okay? The natural state is actually, and I want you to think about how complicated your body is. All the fucking systems we have. Just the fact that we have, all these veins that are pumping blood everywhere and it's taking oxygen and all these things everywhere in our body. It's fucking insane when you think about how complicated every little organ and component is and how perfectly they have to be working together for us to be well, and really how often we're well. It's because it's designed to heal. It's designed to work. It's designed to function. And so are you. You're designed to be happy. You're designed to be in bliss, enraptured. You're designed to orgasm. Yeah. You're actually designed for it. You're built for it. And the only time that you aren't is when you are getting something you don't need, or you're not getting something you need. Yeah, these bodies are badass. Yes. So it is so important for you to hear me when I say that the work is actually relatively simple. So much of it is done by itself. When you go to the doctor really doesn't do a fuck ton. Literally takes away whatever your body doesn't need, right? Like let's say you got a big old splinter in your arm, takes it away, gives it what it needs, which maybe is a bandage, close up the wound, sew it up, something. And then the body does the rest. Okay, that was a key code. What just happened?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so what I just did was I realigned you to the truth of your wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that is so important because the minute that I do that and I speak that truth code into you, it takes you out of counterfeit operating systems and puts you right back into your design. The minute I say that. So that's something I want you guys to write this shit down. I want you to take some of these phrases and these key codes and I want you to put them on cards, sticky notes, and I want you to stick them up and reread them.
Mm-hmm.
I am naturally whole. Wholeness is my natural state. Bliss is my natural state.
Yeah.
Joy is my natural state.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not joyful, soulgasmic, delighted, happy, healthy, I am getting something I don't need, or I am not getting something I need. It is that simple. And I want all of the little head games and all the mental bullshit and all the other circuitry and all the other things that are coming in right now that are wanting to hijack and be like, well, it can't be that simple. It can't be that easy. I'm going to wipe that all away.
Mm-hmm. Breathe it out.
Breathe it out.
Let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All those systems are going to be wanting to fight, or they want to hold on. That's why I was telling you, you're going to have anxiety when some of the things that she says, because those systems are wanting to hold on. They've served you for all this time. Just thank them and let them go.
They're living, breathing entities. That's
sure.
what I want you to hear, right? The narcissistic empath abuser dynamic is actually a living entity, and it's much bigger than the individual couple that's inside the bullshit. They actually don't realize that. The narcissist doesn't even realize that it's not just feeding itself, it's feeding a bigger entity, an actual living, breathing entity.
Yes.
And so it's going to want to fight. It's fighting for its own survival. Because when you take your power back, that 95% of your life force energy that you are feeding to this bullshit, it is screwed. And that's actually how we transcend. That's how things change. Is everybody stops giving their energy to the things that we don't want. We don't want to feed the narcissistic empath abuser dynamic. We don't want to feed that. So what you actually have to do is you have to unplug from it. You have to stop giving it your power. And you living in your head of like trying to decide what to do and oh my God, that feeds it. That keeps it alive. So the simpler, the better. If you're unhappy, if your intuition is like something's not right here, something doesn't feel right here, listen to me. You're getting something you don't need, or you're not getting something you need. You're not broken. When there's a body that is emaciating from starvation because it hasn't had food, we don't look at the body or the person, we're like, you're broken. Look, you're starving to death. You're broken. Your body's broken. Your body's not broken. It's doing exactly what it's meant to do. When it is starved of nutrients, it emaciates. It starts eating its own muscles, its own tissues, its own organs to try to survive. That's how you're designed. So if you're not orgasming, you're not broken. That's a key code. I'm going to say that again. If you're not orgasming, you're not broken. Your body is communicating something to you. Relationships, intimacy, it's all symbolic, you guys. It's symbolic of a much bigger picture. So if intimacy is not working for you, then that means there's something else in your life that's not working for you. Maybe it's the way you're being treated by your partner, the way they're speaking to you, the way they're not following through, the way they're not honoring their word, the way that they seem to be shady, hiding something, acting kind of elusive, evasive.
They could be abusive. I mean, just flat out. They
Flat
can be
out
abusive. They can be in some type of addiction where that's like running and ruling their day, ruling their life, and that's more important, or you're feeling like it is more than you or your family.
Right.
There's so many things.
Your partner, this is what I want you to hear. It doesn't even have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be something as small as you feel like your partner puts your kids before you. And this is for men and women. Women, your partner comes first. That relationship, that union is what allowed you to create those tiny humans. And the actual proper circuitry inside of a family dynamic is the husband and the wife right up here creating the crown, the top. And a full union, there's so many things I can say here. Okay, so I want you to hear, I'm going to tell you some of the signposts right now of a divine union and what it requires. And these are key codes. And what they are is also indicators. If you're not experiencing these, you're not in a divine union.
So let's just everyone take a breath real fast because she's going to just, she's going to let it rain.
Okay, so, all right. You're not in this one enough. There we go. Oh, I don't want to make this all fall. You guys would love to see the tower. We have all of this props on. It's so great right now. Okay, so in a divine union, it is required that each partner take the other as themselves. So what that means is that your partner's needs are yours. Where your partner's needs end and yours start, there is no start. They're the same thing. There's no, well, this is where I am, and then this is where you are, and this is where I am, and this is where, no, it's one. It's completely unified, which means you would actually not feel okay if there was a win-lose situation set up. Win-win is the only acceptable answer, period. Mm-hmm. Win-win. Mm-hmm. That's it. That means that your partner's needs and their bliss come above, and not your own, because here's what you need to hear. This is what creates separation, especially in this new age movement. When you have one partner that is not able or willing to take the other partner as themselves, you get a codependent, fucked up dynamic. You do, guaranteed, every time. So it doesn't work. But here's the thing. If I am making her needs, her joy, her bliss my number one, and she's doing that for me, boom. But if I'm making her needs number one and she's not making mine, where do I come? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people's solution is like, no. I'm going to put my needs first and what I want first, and then you get the scraps of what's left after that. Because I've been fucked before. Because I've been in a relationship where I didn't have that. Here's the deal. If you're in a relationship where you don't have that, you're actually not in a relationship. You're not. You're an indentured servant to them. And what you're actually, the debt you're paying for is your own delusion of your lack of worthiness. Mm-hmm. I want you to hear that again. This is huge. This is going to blow some of your worlds open. If you're in a relationship right now where you're with a partner that you are allowing to continue to not make you number one in their world, in their priorities, your needs, whatever, and you're still pouring into them. You're still making their needs number one. You're reading the books. You're changing yourself. You're trying to, what can I do to be better so that they'll love me or they'll want to fuck me or they'll whatever. You're not in a relationship. You're an indentured servant. An indentured servant is somebody that is working for free to pay off a debt. It's a slave. It's a slave. And the debt you're paying off is your own delusion that you're not worthy of having what you really want.
Boom, baby.
That for some reason, all you can give is not enough for you to have all he can give or she can give. Mm-hmm. It's worthiness, which is a complete illusion. Worthiness is actually a fucked up overlay hijacking system. Mm-hmm. It is. And what I want you to hear is that there are so many systems of hijack, and they're so sneaky. They're so sneaky. Right? Like the whole put your needs first and self-care and all of that. It's like it's true and false simultaneously because it actually creates separation. It creates an I'm different and this is why and this is blah, blah, blah. In a true partnership, the differences are complementary and they are honored and they're excited. Like I am excited to cater to the fact that this beautiful creature does not know how to monitor the battery life on her phone. And so I am now the official, how's your battery? Check your battery. Let's plug it in. I plugged your phone in, babe. It's dying. I can't tell you how many times, like the end of the day, and we have like a training or we get to FaceTime kids or something, and she's like, oh, I have 10%. And I'm like, I have failed you today. I have failed you. I did not plug your phone in, right? So it's like, that's very different. We're very different from each other. And that's great. And when I'm taking her needs as my own and she's taking her needs as my own, the polarization, it's like you can't help it. So let's talk about sex, baby. How are you guys feeling? I would like to hear some comments. We just did a ton of key codes and activations. I just pointed out a ton of distorted programming that you may have running, and that can create a little bit of a reality collapse. And it's like, oh, I thought I was doing all these great, nice things. And I thought this, and I thought I just need to work on myself. And then my partner will get their shit together and it'll be fine and blah, 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 blah. You don't realize you've actually been feeding the distortion of separation. And you're actually staying in a fucked up dynamic where you're an indentured servant. It's a big deal. So I'd love to hear how you guys are feeling right now. We're gonna move into talking a little bit more about sex. Gotta lay the groundwork. Gotta have some foundation here. How are you feeling?
Great.
You feeling good?
Mm-hmm. So great.
Okay, cool.
You're the light bringer, baby.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's talk about sex now. So from personal experience, let's talk about personal, but like, why am I so qualified? Why am I so qualified to talk about sex, babe?
She's a sex goddess. I can feel myself getting red.
She's getting red.
But she really is. She really is, people.
Project, babe. Tell them all about it.
She really is.
Okay.
We should just tell them the whole story.
Let's tell them the whole story.
Yeah. So, so I haven't been able to orgasm. Yeah, I haven't been able to orgasm. Just letting you guys know that was my life when.
Okay, I'd love a 1 in the comments for those of you who are willing and able to share of like if you've experienced something similar as she's talking with either having pain when it comes to having sex, feeling like it's a chore, feeling obligated, not able to actually orgasm with another person without like you being the one touching yourself, you being the one facilitating that. Please give us a 1 in the comments. This is incredibly common. You are not alone. This is one of the biggest hijacks for women's pleasure. And it has so many people thinking, oh, maybe I'm gay. Oh, maybe I'm broken. Oh, I need to do research. Oh, I need to have surgery on my pussy. Oh, I need to try multiple partners. Oh, I need more toys. I need more lube. I need more this. I need more that. I need to be drunk in order to get off. I need to, whatever it is. Look at all these ones. Baby. Look at all these ones.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So thank you for standing in and sharing your story.
I haven't even shared it.
Yeah. Well,
but basically, I couldn't orgasm.
For 15 years.
Yeah.
In our marriage with a narcissist.
Yes. All of that. And and then I met you.
But you still didn't orgasm.
But I still didn't orgasm when we first met. And there was well now we know why. And it did all have to do with really worthiness. I mean,
and trust.
So much trust.
And surrender.
Yeah. And surrender. Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes.
There's so many things she's like bringing me back. Yeah. But anyways, so it took a long time it didn't take that long actually, considering. It was about 3 months in after meeting her when it finally happened. And it was because she was on a call actually. And she was talking to a divine masculine, or she was telling him how he
was activating him in his key codes for his divine masculine blueprint.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Oh man. And basically I was just standing there watching her dripping away.
Dripping away. She was wet.
It was so amazing to hear all of the things that the divine masculine can do, and how they're supposed to rise up, and how they, not even the supposed to or shoulds, it's something that's like literally inside to be able to, or that comes out with a union. So
yes.
Yeah, it's just it's almost like it's not a choice, or it's not but it all has to do too with I guess the union within.
Right.
So
it's both. It's all of it. Okay, so a couple of things. Good job, baby. Good job. It's hard to talk about it. It's hard to remember all of that and think about it. So let me just say this. Now, okay, so in her marriage before, sex was a requirement. It was obligated. It was forced. It was very painful. It was not enjoyable. And she never orgasmed. Okay? And now the transformation being wanting it all the time, basically, and orgasming every time, sometimes multiple times. The most we've had was 3.
Yeah.
3 in one 30-minute window.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It might have been 40 minutes.
It might have been. It doesn't matter. Time stands still. But basically, what I'm wanting, and that's impressive, right? That's impressive for the body to be able to do that. What I want you to hear is it's not mechanical. Guys, it's energetic. There's a tiny bit of mechanics. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Same woman, obviously a different partner. Okay, that is huge. That's huge. If your partner is not doing it for you, it's not mechanical. It's because something in the energetics of the relationship and the dynamics aren't doing it for you. And that's not necessarily meaning they're always the problem. The problem is the misalignment. I don't see it as a problem. Like if someone is married to someone that it's not working with, I don't see the other person as the problem. I see the fact that they're trying to make each other be a union a problem. It's an incompatibility. It's an incompatibility. And those are actually, there are some of you that are in relationships that need to not be with this partner. And you know that. I'm speaking right into you right now. You know. I don't need to say you by name. I don't need to say any more. You already know. But what you're most likely going to do if you don't have my help or someone's help to help you integrate the activated key codes is you're going to hear this, you're going to feel good, you're going to fantasize about leaving, look at your plan one more time, and then you're going to fall right back into the same fucked up pattern.
Yep.
So what's going to give and when is it going to change? That's my question for you. What is it you need? When do you decide that you having a soulgasmic relationship, even if it's just with yourself, is worth the pain of leaving the distorted pattern? That's the question. I'll let you sit on that.
And I remember part of something we talked about too, is that part of the dynamic of, I guess, that circuit board is it being addictive to stay.
Yep.
It's really addictive to stay in the pattern of the abuse.
Yep.
It's really addictive.
And it makes no sense to the logical mind because it's not logical.
Right.
It's based in circuitry. You're literally, if you had all your power back right now, you would not know what the fuck to do with yourself. I'm telling you. It's about connection energy and feeling safe and one with them, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. So let's do a little bit of key codes with talking about the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Okay? So, and I want you to know that with every single trait, there is a distortion and then there's a shadow side of it. Okay? So what I mean by that is every great thing about you, every trait about you has a shadow side or a potential weakness in it. So for example, this beautiful creature, most loving, kind, unassuming, forgiving person I know. Okay. The shadow side of that is being a doormat. Right? Okay. On the other side, we have me, and I'm like big picture. I'm like zoomed way out. I'm like planning, creating, strategizing goals, doing this. Blah, 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 blah. The shadow side is I miss the actual moment of life that's happening right in front of me. Because I'm so busy in my mind trying to create, control, plan, Yeah,
so amazing planner, amazing strategist.
Right. So this woman, in the balancing way, helps me reconnect with the moment, what's happening right here in front of me. And I keep her safe. And I let her know, hey, actually, that wasn't nice, or that's not sad. That's actually manipulation, what you're seeing. The way that person's talking to you, that's actually a manipulative move. Because she doesn't want to see people that way, which is beautiful. She sees the light in everyone. She sees the potential in everyone. But on the other side of that, right, you can see how that could create a shadow. So let's talk about these divine key codes. So a divine masculine energy, this is what I want you to hear. The divine masculine, when you're on the divine, when someone's tuned into their divine masculine template, we all have both. And actually, we want yours unified. That's your unified core power that I'm talking about, okay? And when you're in your unified core power and then you add a partner, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So where now this beautiful woman, like I've already said, sex drive, super high. And it's never like a chore. It's never a have to. is totally, totally different. And it's never painful.
No.
Never painful. Okay, so, okay. I'm like trying to decide if I want to go into those traits first or if I want to talk about the mechanics of like our anatomy. I'll just do this. Okay. Divine masculine energy is meant to be the space holder in a relationship. Mans the borders. It's like they are in charge of protecting the castle. They're in charge of when do we lower the gate to let people in, to let resources in, let people in. They're the manager of that. They're like the manager of all the ports of things coming into the relationship and leaving the relationship, and they're watching it and guarding it. They're guarding it and they're watching for potential infiltration, for potential subterfuge, potential anything. That's their job.
Yeah, listen up. This is, she's going to tell you she is telling you all of the roles of the divine masculine. This is big. So if this is happening in your relationship or isn't happening, take note.
If this is happening in your relationship, you're here to learn more about what you need to do as the feminine energy in the relationship to keep the polarization active. That's why you're here, or you're with the wrong person, which for some of you is true. Okay, just to be clear. Okay, man's the borders, man's resources, and is in charge of watching time. Anything that's a resource, time, money, fun, actual physical things in and out of the space. Okay. And it's like the divine masculine is driving the ship. They're like steering it. Mm-hmm. And the GPS for the divine masculine is the divine feminine's feelings. Her feelings decide that. So I want you to see how this is so perfect. Because for so long in the distorted patriarchal pattern, it's like the man's the head of the house and blah, blah, blah. And it's like so fucked up. It's been so fucked up. And this whole the man's the head of the house and the man's driving the ship has been used to like squash women and disregard them and be like, I'm in charge. This is what we're fucking doing. In a divine union, a man or the masculine in the relationship would never, ever have to say, I'm the man and this is what I've decided. Ever. Why? Because there's so much trust in the relationship that if there is ever a time that the man needs to steer the ship a certain way and the feminine is like, I'm not sure or not totally on board, she's in full trust. She's in full trust and surrender saying, you know what? Your job is to be up there on the deck, watching the seas, reading the compass, looking at the stars, doing that. And my job is I'm like in the moment and I'm like talking to the crew and I'm here doing all of these things. And so I could miss a detail like that because my job is this intricacy and this energy and this yumminess, and your job is that. So I could be missing something, and there's a trust there. And it's rare that that has to happen. But go ahead and tell them what you said yesterday about that.
What do you mean?
Remember when you were saying that there are times when I'm doing something, you're like, oh, that's harsh, or that's a little extreme, or that's, tell them.
Yeah, so there'll be times when we'll be doing something in the house or something, or even out and about.
With the kids.
Yeah, and it's with the kids, and something will be said, she'll do something, she'll like react in a certain way, and I'm thinking to myself, ooh, that was a little rough, that was a little, I don't know if I this, and then almost all the time, I was telling her yesterday, it's about 9 out of 10 when I'm like into the like, because now I'm like really trusting her and really surrendering to her way and her knowing. And when that happens, it's like 9 times out of 10, it's like, yeah, I was able to see the intent. I was able to see that everything was as it should be.
Worked out.
Yeah, for sure. And
she
knew.
And you understood why I did it.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And then it just builds more trust.
More trust.
And then it's like, oh, I'm thinking that she doesn't know, or she's like too, it's too, whatever I'm thinking, whatever the stories that are building up in my mind of past trauma, past insecurities, all those things that are happening basically. And then it takes me back into, it brings me back into the moment of trust with her. Really, it does. And surrendering into her way, and knowing that her way, it's always for the whole.
Right.
It's always for the whole.
And so again, that only works if you're with someone that is actively wanting to be in their divine masculine template. Because there are times I get it wrong, right? She said 9 out of 10. There are times I get it wrong. There's times that I've had a reaction or a way of handling it that was like, she was like, no, it's not. Oh, And the truth is, as a masculine, one of the biggest hijacks for masculine energy is feeling like a failure. That's what you'll hear a lot. There are specific words. That's what I want you to hear. They're actual codes and hijacks. You'll hear specific words: broken, crazy. They all say broken. Men and women both say broken. Women most often say, you think I'm crazy or I'm crazy. And men often say, I'm a failure. I've let you down. I'm a failure. Mm-hmm. That's when you know you're not in your divine template. And those are words you can watch for and you can feel for, because it's true. I'm like, unless I'm getting 10 out of 10, I'm failing her. That's exactly what I was thinking just now. And she's like 9 out of 10. I was like, damn. That means 1 out of 10. She's like let down or not happy or whatever. And I just like don't want to make a mistake. I want it perfect, because how she feels is my GPS. I want her feeling yummy and open and trusting and juicy about life. Okay. And that, again, I keep saying these words because they are symbols, right? Juicy is a sexual word. It's about being wet, actually being wet, which means you're able to receive, right? So let's go into that. Y'all know the birds and the bees, right? We've got a pussy. I've got a penis. I don't have a penis. We've got a penis over here. I don't have a penis, but we'll explain that later. YouTube it. Okay. No. So basically, I'm talking about it physically, and then we'll talk about the energetics of this, because it's a very sacred thing, really. I want you to understand me in this. This is a sacred, very, very powerful exchange of energy. Mm-hmm. And if you're not using the intimacy in your partnership to create more connection together and to manifest, you can manifest you can manifest in that energy. What are you giving that energy to? Mm-hmm. If you're making love out of obligation, what template are you feeding? What entity is growing and building? Is your union getting stronger, or are you feeding the system? We are plugged in at any time to the entire matrix of living things. And if you're not consciously and intentionally honoring the sacredness of the union between you and a partner, you are giving that energy somewhere else. And I'm telling you, that's not nearly as fun.
Take it in. That is what is happening energetically. That is what is happening emotionally. That is what's happening physically. There's 4 different body types. All of those, if you're not doing it like the right way, or in union and trust and surrender, what are you feeding it to?
What body types? 4 body types.
There's 4. Emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual.
Right. Good. So divine union is the unification of all of those systems together. So let's go back into the structure of this. So you have a pussy and you have a penis. And I call it a pussy because vagina is actually not the correct term for the whole thing, because it's very complicated. The vagina is actually just talking about one component of the whole pussy, which is so many different components and parts. So that's why I'm saying that word, not to be crass. If you haven't read this book, where is it? Oh, I put it.
I'll go get it.
She's going to get it. There's a book I want you all to read. I highly, highly encourage you. Yeah, it's really, really powerful. The book is called Pussy, A Reclamation. And it's a very beautiful book. It even would be helpful for masculines or men to read. Mm-hmm. It talks a lot about this. So I use the word pussy not to be crass, but to reclaim the word and to explain that we're talking about the entire structure of the physiology of woman's pleasure center, basically. Okay. So we have a pussy, we have a penis. We all know one goes into the other. All right. And so in order for that to happen, the female gets wet, right? She creates a natural lubricant that allows that to happen with ease, so that it's not painful, so that it doesn't hurt. So what's required for that to happen in a beautiful way is an actual opening of the feminine to receive the masculine in. You also need, there's so many pieces to this. The masculine needs to rise up, literally. If a masculine is not hard, is not getting a hard on, they can't actually do anything. It can't go anywhere. And I want you guys to hear the key codes and the symbolism in what I am saying.
Mm-hmm.
If the masculine is not inspired, is not rising up, nothing can go anywhere. Nothing can go anywhere in the actual union, in the example of sex. Obviously, we have fingers, we have all these other things that we can make love with. But what I'm talking about is I'm talking about what the actual act of sex, the penis in the pussy variety, is teaching us about our relationships. It's symbolic. It's so symbolic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll get into a minute and talking about, the fact that I don't have one and how it's not really relevant because we're talking about the energy here. Okay. So the divine masculine needs to be inspired from the inside out to serve the feminine. If you are with a masculine that you need to carrot or stick, that means reward or punish into having the behaviors you want, you are not with your divine counterpart. I'm telling you, you're not. And I know that that's hard to hear. I know that it's hard to hear. There are things I do for this woman that I want to do for anyone else on the planet, not just because we're in a relationship. I've been in a relationship before, married before, dated a lot of people before. But I'm willing to go to places and depths and lengths with her that I wouldn't with anyone. I'd be willing to literally go through hellfire with her. Why? Because it's her. Because she's my divine counterpart. That's why. Mm-hmm. So if your partner is not inspired from the inside out to take action and address and do the things they need to, and I get to create a caveat here. I really do. I'm going to need to lean up on this. This is the caveat. If you have a partner, and I get to be careful with this, if you have a partner that has manifested some form of past PTSD or trauma and they're dealing with it, that is different than them not being willing. You will feel the willingness in their heart. They may not, because they're in a trauma moment, have the capacity to meet you all the way right now, but that doesn't mean that they're not your divine counterpart. So I want you to look at your relationship as a whole from beginning to end. And end is right now. Whatever's happening right now is what I'm saying. From start to where we are, okay? Have you seen them rise up and take action towards you? And it needs to be consistent. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying I get to be cautious with this because we want to use our minds to try to make the decision versus our hearts. So there will be times when someone is triggered in a trauma that they're addressing where they don't have their full capacity. And why I get to be careful with this is because there are some of you on here that are dating a narcissist that had a traumatic childhood, or you're dating someone who's an alcoholic asshole, and you're staying with them because they're sick and you see little slivers of potential and you're holding on. Get the fuck out of that relationship right now. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about an actual divine masculine energy that you're with that has exhibited that and you've seen it consistently over time. And then something in life, a life event or something you experience, puts them into a midlife crisis or a moment of struggle. That's an opportunity for you as the feminine to rise up and support them in a healing process, and then the polarity will get back in place.
Yeah.
So it's important to know no one is perfect. It's not like there was so many times, especially in the beginning, that this beautiful woman was not trusting me or surrendering into me at all. And I knew where it came from. I knew that it was trauma-based, and I knew I just had to be patient and patient and patient and patient and patient. Okay? In order to have intimacy stands for in to me, see. See into me. See all of me. Love all of it. Shine your light into all the deepest, darkest places of me. Okay? So that can't happen if there's not honesty. If you want to have a divine union, it gets to be fully transparent. That means no secrets. Zero. Unless they're of the surprise variety, like birthdays and Christmas or anniversaries. I'll make exceptions there. Let's just say this Christmas season tortured me because I tell her everything. I was not able to tell her things. It was so intense. We should do a live sometime talking about all the great things that you got for Christmas. Oh, no, go away. We're back. I had a call. Hey, Uncle Rob. Okay, good. So you can't, in order to, okay, so this is the next thing. You get to be fully honest and fully trusting of your partner. Keep getting called by the same number. Okay, so if you're wanting to have a powerful, intimate connection with your partner, there gets to be full honesty. And this is twofold. First of all, you are deserving and worthy to be fully yourself and to have nothing to hide and to have no shame. If you've dealt with addictions in the past, you feel like you made bad choices, you did something illegal, whatever it is. That's for my haircut.
Yeah, it is.
I'll call her in a minute. You deserve to be with someone that you can tell anything to. You deserve that. So that's one really huge thing for you to hear. So often when we talk about honesty, it's always about like, oh, that's what's fair to your partner is for you to be honest with them. Actually, that's what's fair to you. That's what's honoring to you. You deserve to live full out without hiding anything or tiptoeing around anything or trying to cover anything up. Hiding always leads to more deceit and more lying. And I don't care how you justified it. It's not justifiable. Yeah. You're trying to create a light-bodied relationship with darkness. That's what you're trying to do. And you're justifying it. You're like, oh, I don't want to bring all this darkness into the relationship. How will they handle this? How will they handle this if they know that I cheated on them 5 years ago at that one night stand when I was really mad? How will they handle it? I guess you get to find out. You get to shine the light. You get to shine the light on everything. 2 wrongs don't make a right. You did a wrong thing, so you think all the lying and covering up makes it right? That's going to bring in the light? You bring in enough fucked up darkness, it'll turn into light. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. You get to shine the light. And this means, ladies, no more faking orgasms. There is nothing more emasculating and damaging to the intimate structure of your oneness than lying in the bedroom about what you want or don't want. Don't be trying to protect their ego. That's emasculating. What you're basically saying when you do that is, oh, you're not man enough to handle the truth. It's going to hurt your feelings. You're going to be sad. You can't handle it. Treat them like the fucking divine masculine you want them to be and let them see all of you. Let them know. Let them know. The truth is, once we broke through this really powerful barrier this last month in our intimacy, and we went from this beautiful creature coming maybe once a week to, like I said, 2 to 3 times a day or a session. And that happened because the trust and the intimacy, being able to see into each other, went to the next level. She saw that although I am going to have my own opinions and feelings and reactions to things, that she can trust me with all of her and vice versa. I have shadows in me that aren't pretty, that I'm ashamed of. She's seen them. I can't hide them. And it's in her response to that and the way she holds space for me, still holding boundaries. She's, hey, don't act like that. Don't talk to me like that. Or that was mean. I don't like that. Right? She still holds boundaries while still also holding space simultaneously for my process in a judgment-free way. Just like, you're not bad, you're not broken, you're not fucked up. This is your shadow. You're in trigger. And that doesn't make it okay for you to act this way or talk this way or anything. And I'm making it sound like I'm like this big monster. But it's subtle. It's subtle energies. And the closer you are in union, the more just a look, a tone of voice can feel jarring because you're so connected. It's like, where does her emotions, begin and mine end? They don't. So interconnected. Good.
It's true.
It's really, really beautiful. It's really powerful.
Another thing I was going to say too, by withholding or faking an orgasm, like another thing that you're doing is you're actually lying about what it is that can get you off. So they're thinking, this is what it takes. This is what I need to do.
This is what she wants.
And this is what she's telling me or signifying to me of what feels good enough to get her off. When in fact, what's going on in your mind is, that's not happening or whatever. But basically, you're not giving the masculine the opportunity to be able to like really find out what it is that can take you there,
And that's symbolic.
Yeah.
For the rest of your union. You guys are key codes in what we're saying here. You need to hear this. If she's my GPS, where the fuck am I steering this vehicle if she's lying? Is she's pretending she likes it when I'm dancing around in the kitchen and being silly, and actually it's annoying her? I'm just going to keep doing that over and over again because I think it's pleasing her. And secretly she's like, don't do that. But that's not true, right, babe?
Right, babe.
Right, babe?
Right, babe.
You like it when I dance?
I love it.
And sing?
I love it.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
So it's very symbolic. And this is the same thing within all relationships and dynamics, and especially even with yourself. You are required to be at a almost obnoxious level of honesty and transparency with yourself and with other people to have the type of joy and bliss and pleasure you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do that in ways that have tact. You don't have to be mean, right? Because you're not getting off or coming, that is not an insult to the other person. That's just a reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's just like being like, well, I'm not full yet. This meal is delicious and I'm still hungry. What else you got, right? And so it's realizing that the divine masculine, it lives to serve, to light you up. It lives for that.
Mm-hmm.
The divine masculine does. And there's so much symbolic stuff in this in your relationship with God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your relationship with God. So God wants to surprise and delight you, and it requires a level of trust and connection. So if you're not with someone that you can fully do that with, first of all, we need to talk. A lot of you I know are feeling that already. You're like, I need to ask her all these questions. She needs to hear my story. I want to see what she thinks. I want all of that. I get that. So message me. We'll look into setting that up. We actually have a plan for how we're going to do that.
Yeah. Another thing I was going to say was that, so many of feminines feel like it takes them too long. That it takes too long, and that we're putting them out, and that it takes too much time, and that they're not going to like it. So it would actually be better for me to fake it instead of honoring myself, the union, and my partner to be able to say, move a little to the left, go a little bit slower, go a little bit faster. Maybe you should come up and kiss me. Maybe you should, all the things. I'm needing this. I'm needing that. And it's just not true, because if you're with somebody that, honors you and loves you and is there for the process, like you guys are already in it, you're doing it. So it's like the amount of time that it takes for you to orgasm, it's not in any way beneficial for you to fake it and lie about it. It's so much more beneficial for you to love yourself, trust your partner, trust the union, that when you say, I don't know what's wrong, or I don't know what's going on, or whatever it is, and being able to trust each other and have
work it out together.
Yeah. Go together.
It's always time.
Most of the time, most women or feminine energy, it takes longer.
It's time. It's always time.
It's time.
Can you grab the charger for this?
Yes.
Plug it in right here.
Yeah.
Thanks, baby. Okay, so that's what it is. It's always time. So that's what I want you to hear. I'm just going to give you some actual real raw numbers. So in the beginning, for Keely to come, it would take about 30 minutes. 30 minutes of my undivided attention just on her. 30 minutes. I want you to fill into that number right now, knowing what 30 minutes feels like. How many of you that have struggled with orgasm would ever feel worthy of allowing that amount of time? Just fully attention on you. How many? My guess is on this side, baby. Not many of you. Is it not far enough? Oh, okay. Here we go. We're moving it. We got to plug in. I want some love-ins. I want some reactions. Are we loving this? Are you guys getting good information here? I want to hear. I want some feedback. Also, if you guys have any questions as we're going through, just get to typing. I'm hoping that actually is charging. I can't tell. Let's pull down from the top and see. Nope, we're not charging it.
We're not? It's not charging.
No, it's just doing the thing it does where it doesn't charge.
I think I'm on the top. And that one might not.
Okay, so really giving it the time. It's just not telling me. It's saying no. We're going to go until we run out of battery. That's what we're going to do. Let's just get back up here, baby. Do you want to unplug it? It's fine. I'll just come around. We'll see. It might be charging. Okay, so it's about giving it the time that it actually takes and being okay with that. And honestly, part of the way that the energy body and the emotions and the systems works is once I proved to her, basically, and yeah, it is proving. It is proving. We do test each other in relationships unconsciously. We don't realize we're doing it, but we want to know. We want to know, love 30 minutes for me, all the minutes. Yeah. We want to know if we can really count on them to be there. And one of the things that feminine energy needs to feel safe is they need consistency. And they need to know that you're just going to hold that same energy and be there over time. And so literally sometimes, and I'm being a little bit like detailed here, but it is the same pressure, the same pace, the same beat consistently over time. I mean, we're talking 5 minutes straight of that same consistent rhythm, pace, pressure, whatever. And that builds to that point of the release.
Hear what she's saying. She is saying this is in the actual act. And this is also so symbolic for what is happening in real life. You know, you're wanting to see the masculine show up. You're wanting to see them be consistent. You're wanting to be able to know you can trust them. You're wanting to know that they're going to show up when you need them to. All of those things. The consistency is happening in real life. And then once you're in the actual love making, having that consistency, having that love, having all of that, it's the same thing. It's the same thing that's happening. It's in day to day, and it is also in
as within, so without.
Bingo.
All of it. All of it. Good. So what does the masculine need in return? What do I need, baby?
Screaming.
Yes, please. The masculine basically requires all of you. It's about a full surrender and giving of all of yourself in full trust to them. Realizing and trusting that they are never going to say or do anything to try to own you in a possessive way or try to dim your light or keep you from your highest, greatest joy. Is trusting that what lights her up the most is my greatest joy. And if I am ever to say no to anything, like, oh, no, we can't do that. There's a reason. There's something I am seeing with my bigger picture zoomed out view that she's not seeing in that moment because she's not there. And this always is done through your own intuition. Mm-hmm. So if there's ever something that I'm like, oh, no. Yeah, she might have nervousness about it, but she'll have like behind the scenes this steady beat of trust of like, you know what? Yeah, I'm feeling nervous about it. I'm not exactly sure why she's making this rule with the kids, but let's see it play out. And then 9 times out of 10, she's like, okay, I get it. I see it. Yeah. Okay. And if her intuition was ever like, fuck no, not happening. That always trumps everything. I want you to hear me in that. Your intuition trumps everything. So I'm thinking you're seeing now with some of these codes we're talking about and these relationship things, some of the things that I've said sound really old, like outdated, right? Like the whole patriarch thing, man's the head of the house. when you're actually energetically tuned in with the oneness, that's never the way it is, ever. And there's one steering wheel. So one person's holding it. But when the other person's the GPS, who's actually steering?
Mm-hmm.
They both are.
Mm-hmm.
They're just standing in their own unique like gifts and roles. Like, oh, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at steering. It's what I do.
Yeah.
Love it. It's no different than when we have people over. I'm typically the one that's like, welcome everybody, come sit down at the table. Let's, hold hands and say something we're grateful for, whatever the fuck. I'm usually the initiator, instigator, facilitator of the thing. Is it because I'm in charge? No. The entire time I'm talking, I am tuned in to where she is in the room. And I'm thinking, what is she thinking about me saying this? Is she liking this? What does she want me talking about? She want me doing a gratitude, highlight, low light, weird light? What does she want at the dinner table tonight? And I'm like feeling her energy the whole fucking time.
It's true. Every time she's saying something after she's like, right, babe? Right, babe? Is that what you want? Is that what you want, babe?
Yeah, and I'll check in with her afterwards. I'm like, is that okay? Is that what you want?
That's right.
And that's what the masculine needs. It wants feedback.
Yep.
If you are pleasured, scream, enjoy it, give the feedback. And I'm meaning that very symbolically with your life in general. If you're enjoying the way that the divine is spoiling you and guiding your life, fucking gratitude, man.
Yeah. And I'm saying, like when I'm saying what she wants is screaming, I mean, it's the acknowledgement, it's appreciation, it's admiration, it's everything that she's doing or the masculine is doing for me. It's acknowledging. And the way you do that is you give everything in. You're all in. You give it all in.
You're not holding anything back.
Yeah.
You're not keeping anything on the back burner for yourself of like, oh, if I give this, I might not get anything back. It's all in.
Yep.
And then she's all in, and then I'm all in, and then she's all in, and the energy builds.
Yep.
And you're connected. And that's the design.
Yeah.
That's actually how we're designed to function in union, in partnership. So this is symbolic for the relationship between you and you, where you're surrendering into your intuition as your GPS, okay? And also where you're surrendering into the divine and you're trusting. If you're not given that yet, there's a reason. It's trusting that divine wants nothing more than you lit up. My life is made. I feel like a complete success when she's lit up, when she's glowing, when she's happy and she's whatever. And truth be told, I can't create that. She's an active choice of that. I know that. And I also can do things that help create that. Both are true simultaneously.
And when she's consistent, when she's just lighting me up, when she's doing all the things that she's doing, I have nothing, like I am whole. It's just this, it's heaven. It's heaven. It really is heaven. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than having, when we are aligned and we're connected and we're on the same page. I mean, all of you know that. All of you know that when you're feeling aligned and connected and
in flow.
Yes, there's nothing better. There really is. There's nothing better. So,
ooh, hey girl, hey.
What's up, Cash?
So there's some really important things that get to be in place, and there's some indicators on what template that you're in and where you're operating from. And as you really lock in these key codes of everything that we're saying, explaining to you how the energy actually works, you guys, that's the code. That is the code that like negates the hijack, disconnects you from those other templates and gets you back in your flow. If you're not wanting sex, don't have it. Yes. Cardinal rule number 1. If you're not wanting it, there's a reason.
Yep. If you say yes when you're feeling no, you're condoning whatever it is that's not aligned with the relationship. You're saying yes to all of that.
You're giving full permission for the hijack. You're giving full permission for 95% or more of your life force energy to be feeding and fueling your own bondage.
Yep.
That's a cage. It's a prison. That's what I want you to hear. Not only are you caged collectively by the illusion of the matrix that we're in and all of the media and all of the bullshit, you're actually caging yourself by ignoring your own truth inside your relationship. And you're in bondage. You're a slave. I want to bring you back to that indentured servant activation that we just had.
Yes.
If you are not if you're not requiring it to be an equal union of pleasure, you're an indentured servant. You're not in a relationship or a partnership.
Yeah. We should never be saying yes when everything inside of us is saying no. And your pussy will be telling you no. It will be telling you no. You'll feel closed up. You'll
feel dry.
Yep.
And the truth is,
and it will hurt.
And it will hurt. And if you're with a partner and you need to use their body, gets to be a vessel of healing for them and for you. So much of our drama and trauma and past bullshit heals inside of relationships, you guys.
Yep.
That's where it heals. So the truth is, are there actual genetic or conditions or physiological things that make us be dry and so we're not wet for sex? Yeah, that's true. And my question is, why is that there? Is that some sort of generational thing? Is there something actually going on in the relationship that you're not getting wet?
Right.
There's a reason. And
right.
Yeah, use lube. Maybe you're actually desiring it. You're just not getting wet. You're like, oh, I want sex. I'm just not getting wet. Use lube. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that or bad with that. What I'm saying is we get to put a next level of intention and attention to what our body is telling us.
Mm-hmm. We get to be able to be conscious and aware of what's happening, of what is like really happening with our bodies. Our body's the first indicator of everything else that's happening.
Actually,
yeah,
it's the last indicator.
Right.
That's the thing, is it's like first we'll have the little pain, the right. little insight, the little feeling, the little, we ignore it and we ignore it and we ignore it until finally your body is like, fucking listen, stop. This is hurting you. It's physically hurting you and you're still allowing it.
Yep. You'll develop a condition or you'll be able to
pelvic floor dysfunction.
Yeah. You'll get cysts on your ovaries.
So you won't be able to, the pressure hurts too much.
Yep.
These are all indicators that in some way there's not honor. You're not honoring you and your partner's not honoring you.
And if this has happened before, if something has happened before you ever even had sex, what's happening? Look at your mom, look at your grandma, look at your dad's mom, look at something's happening generational because we take on generational karma. We take on generational everything from our parents so that we can heal that. We're the ones that come in with these things that happen. And we're the ones that have chosen to be able to heal this family or generational pattern dynamic for the entire collective.
Right.
That's what is happening.
Yes. And so this is what I want you to hear. If you're not enjoying sex and sex isn't good with your partner, that doesn't necessarily mean something's wrong with your partner, right? But what something is wrong energetically. Something's not aligned. And maybe you're with the wrong person. Maybe you're not in your own worthiness of opening to receive pleasure. Maybe your intuition is indicating, hey, something's not right here. Maybe your partner's cheating on you and you don't know it. Right. Maybe not with another person, but maybe with their work, right? I told you from the beginning, right? That key code activator of the union, it's first. It's first. It's before kids. It's before work. It's before working out. It's first. And when you're both actively from a divine blueprint, putting each other's needs first, all the other stuff falls into place.
Yep.
Everything falls into place. It's kind of like we had this analogy when I was growing up in church where they take a jar, they'd have a bunch of big rocks, and then they'd have a bunch of sand. And the big rocks were your priorities, and the sand was like everything else. If you put the sand in the jar first and then try to put the big rocks, it doesn't fit. Some of the big rocks fall out. But if you put the priorities in first and then pour in the sand, everything fits. And that's the way it is. So individually, your union with the divine always comes first. In your relationships, in the structure of your dynamics of relating to work, relating to purpose, relating to your health, relating to your partner, the partner comes first.
Yes.
First.
Yes.
And if they're not able to do that with you, you actually can't do that with them because you become a codependent. It becomes really fucked up. Right? And that's why so many people are moving into separation, is because we don't have a full surrendering into the union. And we could go all day here. Kat says, I know a couple that has not had sex for 10 years, but they claim to have a happy marriage. I just don't know how. Right. Well, it depends on how you define marriage. They don't have a happy sacred union. is what I'll tell you about that. And
it's really none of our business.
It's really none of our business.
Yeah. I mean, if they're,
go ahead. I was just going to say that two things are true simultaneously. There are people that are asexual, and that's actually part of their design. And then there are people who are asexual because they've had trauma. Just like there are people who are gay because it's part of their design. And then there are people who are gay because they were molested. Both are true. But what happens is you have really, really religious, zealot people that are completely ignorant, oblivious assholes that then assume, oh, because you're gay, it's because you had a rough marriage, rough relationship, and it turned you gay. So, right? So both things can be true and both things can happen. There are people that are actually in their design, maybe straight or maybe they're bisexual, but because they have some really traumatic experiences with one of the sexes, they actually choose the other. And guess what? Fucking great. If I'd been bit up and ripped up by a dog, I probably wouldn't own one. Why? I'd get a potbelly pig or something. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying is we each have our own unique thing. We have our own unique past, and we have our own unique things we need to do to heal. And it's so personal, it's individualized and customized. So as I've been speaking to you guys here today, I've been talking about your collective template that I'm seeing as you're all together here. But really, to activate it in the way that I'm wanting to, it would need to be individualized. It would need to be a one-on-one, me looking at your full circuit board and seeing where are your hijacks in place.
Yeah.
Where are they and what are they?
This is her gift. This is what she does. She is able to take, after she talks to someone, she's able to see just a few things that happen. And she's like seeing it visually. Or she's like hearing it. She's hearing it in the tone. She's hearing it in everything that's happening. And she's able to like take what it is that you need, and she's able to just pour into you all the codes, activations, light codes, everything that it is that you need to be able to basically bring you online, to bring you back to where it is that you're feeling aligned and whole.
But the truth is you have to let me.
Yes.
That's what you get to hear is it's all symbolic. So in my coaching, I am the masculine energy in the coaching, wanting to deliver, pleasure, serve, activate you. So you have to be wet for me. You have to be turned on wanting it, or it's not going to happen. I'm not going to force you to make love with me. And this is all symbolic energetically of what's happening.
It's all symbolic.
It's all so symbolic. And it's a game changer. Yeah. So what I was going to say about that is, like in the beginning, there were so many things I wanted to do for her. I wanted to be for her. I wanted to help guard her borders. I wanted to adore her. I wanted to spoil her. I wanted to pleasure her, but she wouldn't let me. Right? When she would stop the lovemaking, 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, she was cutting me off from actually loving her all the way to the point of soulgasmic pleasure. She's cutting me off because of her own stuff, right? Her own, and like, to be fair, in a relationship, like, you're testing the waters out, right? You're building that trust. And that's why it just keeps getting better and better. And that's the design, you guys. That's the actual design. When you're in a relationship with someone, the intimacy should just be getting sweeter and sweeter. And more soulgasmic, where it's not just your actual organ getting off, but your actual being, where your heart feels like it's growing, like on the Grinch when it grows is 10 times the size or whatever. That's what it feels like. It's a butterfly activation feeling of complete oneness and connection. And that's what's possible. And if that's not what's happening for you, somewhere along the line, you've been hijacked. Maybe it was in your childhood when you were taught like women just need to please their man and you got to just get him off so that he doesn't go looking for it somewhere else. That's actually not true. Inside distorted wounded masculine, we could go all day. The pattern that actually drives a man into wanting sex with other people and other women has nothing to do with whether they've had sex that day or not. Nothing. Has nothing to do with their woman, and it actually has everything to do with their woman. It has everything to do with their union and the oneness that's there. So, so much. Basically,
what are some questions?
Yeah. Do we have any questions? Let's see how much battery life we have. We have like none. We have 30. Oh, it's charging.
It's charging.
You magical manifesting magicians of wonderment and glory. Good word. So basically, the trust has to be there, and there has to be a willingness to allow that to come in and to pour into you. And so that's why, like, the organs of sex, obviously, you guys are adults, you can get there. They're very symbolic, So that's why a woman and a woman can make love, because it's the energy. Even if we're just cuddling, the energy is still a receiving of the pouring in.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's not where it ends, though. Right? There's a give, a receive, and then it becomes one. Mm-hmm. And then the dance happens. Mm-hmm. That's just what starts it. The initiation is that. And then the dance goes. If you guys have any questions, get typing really quickly. What I put in place right now is I put in place a 90-minute unified core power activation. It's a one-on-one session. In order to do it with me, you actually get to do an interview with her first, get to fill out an application, and she's actually going to screen the calls for this. When I have somebody that's juicy, that's ready, that's wanting, that's in full trust, that will allow the key codes to go in, it is fucking phenomenal. So
it's instant.
It's instant. So I've helped a lot of people manifest their divine partner or leave a fucked up partner, but the full trust has to be there.
Yeah.
I can't do my work if the full trust and acknowledgement of what the fuck I'm doing to you is there. If you're not aware of that, you're not going to have that soulgasmic activation breakthrough experience. So that's why these are very, very limited. They're a 90-minute session. They're $1,200. You will get the recording, which you will want to re-listen to at least once every 30 days for the next 6 months.
At least.
Yeah. And if you're ready for that and wanting that, what we'll be doing is I'll be going in and activating your unified core divine blueprint, which is your divine masculine and your divine feminine. I'm going to be going in and removing every hijack from your system. So we're going to be going in and we're going to be going and finding the stories, the collective religious programming, the generational patterns that are hijacking you from standing in your divine blueprint, whether that's going to be the feminine or the masculine in a union, it's really irrelevant. We want to get that power core activated so that you're in that, so that you will leave the fucked up dynamic that you're in if that's what you need to do, or manifest and call in your divine partner. I've helped many people manifest and call in their divine partner, and it's such a privilege and a pleasure, but it is predicated upon you. You cannot receive the key codes if you're not aware that that's what's happening. If you're not seeing and receiving them as like, oh my God, give it to me. And you will scream. I promise you, the sexual metaphor is so satisfying. But basically, you get to go through my woman first. She's going to screen you out. So if you would like to see if you're a candidate and you like to set up an interview with her, there'll be about 20 to 30 minutes. If you're not a candidate, we'll send you some other resources.
Yeah.
We'll look into something else to support you and help you, maybe even a BQH session with her. Her BQH sessions are past life regression hypnotherapy sessions that can really open you up and clear you up to really get aligned. Those are, they're 3 to 4 hours. They're amazing.
Yeah.
And
the 300.
You can book those. We can talk to you guys about that. They're 300, right? And so we'll find something. We'll meet you where you're at. What are you needing? That's so important. But I'm just now making this core unified blueprint activation available. I'm really excited to do it, but it's going to be for people who are really ready, and that it's going to stick. Because I could activate you and go in and once a week and activate you, just like I was making love to this woman every single day. But she didn't come until she was really ready to open and to trust and to really see and acknowledge and recognize. So it's so funny. I didn't anticipate when we talked about doing this session, actually using our sexual metaphor in talking about it, but it just flowed perfectly. So
yeah, it did. You're welcome.
That's great. Yes, you have seen me do that, Sean. It's powerful and it's badass. It's game-changing. So we love you all. Thank you for being here. I hope you received the benefit and the activations and the codes that are available. I would encourage you to re-watch this again at least one time. Keep us posted on your journeys. Any other questions you have, post them below. We loved coming on here and gifting this to you all. We love you so much. And over and out.
Love you. Peace.
We should kiss about it. Always. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, YouTube. We're so happy to have you guys here. We're also live on Facebook at the same time. So if you haven't gone and followed us on Facebook, highly encourage you to do that. I'm on there as Nancy Ray, Nancy space RAE. You'll find Keely through that pretty easily. We do have a free Facebook group on there. That's where we actually stream this to. It's just called Rebel Haven. Love to have you here. Thank you for being in the community and all of our new subscribers. We're so happy to have you guys here. If you have questions or there's specific videos you'd like to see more of, please let us know. We're just so excited to be providing this, and love you all. Bye.
Bye.